Hey, PopRockers, Paul with you. How you going today? We recently sat down with Sammi Palinkas and we spoke about her new single, Meet in the Middle. It's a great little country track and it is available now for you to go and stream on Spotify and all the streaming services. Watch the video on YouTube. And like we always say, it's good supporting the artist, but you can support the artist by going to the artist. So check out our gig guide on poprockradio.com.au/gig guide, and you'll be able to find local shows and events where you can support the artist. While you're there, pick up some merch and start repping your favourite bands like this one here, Mindful Eyes. Big shout out to the guys at Mindful Eyes. Yep. But anyway, we're not here about Mindful Eyes. We're here about Sammi. Here she is. Enjoy. All right, Sammi, how are you today?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing really, really well. So
Excellent.
you've got a new song out, "Meet in the Middle." It's been out in a couple of weeks now.
That's true.
What
Yes, came out in June 16.
Yep,
It's had a great run so far. I'm really excited that the feedback has been what it is and that the people are really getting around it. So,
yep.
yeah, it's been a really exciting time.
So it's got 18,000 views on YouTube I saw today.
Oh, wow, really? That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
not keeping up with all the view counts. So, that's really cool.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yes, yeah, trying to get any views on YouTube is a mission, but no, you're doing well, 18,000 views.
Oh, thank you.
Now, it it's got a very Shania Twain sound to it.
It does. Yes.
So, obviously, in the notes, it says that, there's a bit of Shania Twain influence.
Mhm.
Tell us about your background. Where did you come from and where how did you get started? How had everything evolved?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been around for a very long time.
Yep,
I started singing at about the age of 3, and I was dancing as well. Won a national televised singing competition when I was 8. Went on to
yep,
do some musical theatre and appeared in Annie when I was 11 with Anthony Warlow. And I started writing in my teens, but really got serious about it in my early 20s.
yep,
The more I wrote, and I always tell people, when they start out writing songs, I'm like, you'll learn more about yourself as an artist when you're writing your own material
yep,
than you'll do singing someone else's. And that was a classic case of me. I was a really clear pop writer at the time. My dear friend Fiona Kernigan, when I was 21, said to me, you should come and write with me
yep.
in LA. We'll go and write pop songs over watermelon martinis in the Beverly Hills Polo Lounge. And I thought that was a great idea. So a couple of months later, I was on a plane, and there we were doing exactly that. I did
Oh,
that for
wicked.
years.
Yep,
Yeah, that was amazing experience. And I've always loved country.
yep,
It's something that's my parents brought me up on a wide range of music, and all of the greats: Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, Dusty Springfield,
yep,
Loretta Lynn, you name it, Slim Dusty. They were all things that I heard when I was a kid, and I really took a shine to it when Pearl Harbor came out and Faith
yep,
Hill There You'll Be came out, and Coyote Ugly with Leanne Rimes. That was my first real introduction to sort of that more modern country.
yep,
And Shania Twain was obviously all around that time as well. And I fell in love with that Come On Over album. I
yep,
really, and so that's always been a part of me. But obviously, I took a liking to pop when I was in that age bracket, and
yep,
pursued that. Took a big break, and when I came back from that break, and it was just all about life taking off in a different direction and so forth. What I found was I was a very different singer, and it was very clear that I was
yep,
not really as much of a pop writer as I used to be. I had life experience, I had stories to tell, and things started turning a lot more towards the country genre.
yep,
And I've always shied away from it. I've always had the option to go there. I've never done it. And Fiona again introduced me to the wonderful Rod McCormack. And he's a very talented individual, and very country. And
yep,
I told Rod what I wanted to do, and we thought doing an album together would be a really wonderful experience. And as we started that journey, it was very clear to me that the best place for me was in the country genre. I was just so at home and felt more like myself than I
yep,
had in a long time. And the result of that is I really love the music I'm writing. I really love the work that Rod and I are doing together and the album we're creating. I feel like there's so much of me in it and so much of my heart in it. And I'm really just hoping that resonates with people. But yeah, the Shania Twain
yep.
influence has been with me for a very long time. So,
I think it influenced a lot of people, Shania Twain did. She's just
oh
done
yeah,
something with Anne Marie, Anne Marie? She's done
Yeah,
a song with
right.
her.
Yeah, I did see that
Yeah,
collaboration. Yeah, she's really
yeah.
cool,
It's
actually. Yeah,
a bit bizarre, but Anne Marie
woman of
and
many
Shania
talents.
Twain, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, so is this your first, like, country album?
it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Meet in the Middle is actually my first single off that album,
yeah,
and yeah, it is. And I just the reception has just been so warm, and the support has been just
yeah,
unbelievable. You dream of this type of stuff, and that's certainly been my experience to date. I'm just so grateful that the people have really embraced it.
yeah. 'Cause, country music is one of the fastest growing genres in Australia, and it's
It
what I
is.
find it's really inclusive. There's a lot of
Mhm.
good talent that's getting about in that genre at the moment. They're doing really well. Now, where
Yeah.
did you tell us about the song itself and the inspiration?
Mhm.
How did you come up with the song? Did you just sit down and write it? Did you have it pre-planned? How did it come about?
Yeah, well, so Rod McCormack, myself, and Nashville-based writer Sally
Yeah,
Barris, who's a great friend of ours as well. We wrote the song, the three of us. We had a great time writing it. What we wanted to do is, in a very conversational way, capture the whole opposites attract story.
yeah,
Two people that come from completely diverse, different backgrounds, or two people that have different interests, and that negotiation point where you come together and you essentially meet in the middle
yeah,
and you just make a relationship work. And I mean, look, I've dated a very diverse range of people in my time who are debatably very much the opposite
yeah,
me. And we wanted to capture a lot of me in the music. And so Meet in the Middle was just a great conversational
yeah,
lyric idea, I guess, that is quite a common catchphrase when you're doing that negotiation and compromise. How many times do you say, "Oh, come on, just meet me in the middle,"
yeah, yeah.
and that kind of became the centerpiece for our
Who's
song.
middle? Who's middle?
Wow, yeah, yeah. Who's middle? That's a good point. Halfway, somewhere halfway. But it's just such a common story for people. I've
Yeah,
plenty of friends that their partner's completely opposite, and you just watch them, and they just make things work. So we thought it was a really cool way of talking about that story, and
yeah,
and one that we hope obviously resonates with people as well and reaches people. And I like to, when I write, think how people are going to receive this. And I think a really cool country song really reaches you in a way that you don't really know how you're feeling yet. So
yeah.
I hope people kind of identify and go, "Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's
Is
us. That's my story." So
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause you can follow along like a story. That's what I like
absolutely.
about music, when you have
Yeah,
a song that's like a story and you can follow it.
that's
'Cause
right. And that's what I love about the country genre, because
yeah,
they are stories, they're experiences, and they're just captured so cleverly and so well. And
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty.
So, where was the film clip shot?
Yeah, so that was shot on the Central Coast in New South Wales.
Yeah?
Yeah, so we actually shot that near Felicity Urquhart's house. So she popped out halfway through and said hello. So that was kind of
Yeah.
cool. We shot by the wonderful Duncan Toombs from
Yep,
Film Ring. So Dunk did a great job. I didn't actually know what we were going to be doing for the day. I kind of
yeah,
rocked up and had a few outfits planned, because something I liked about Shania Twain was her fashion sense. She really brought a really cool element of fashion to the country scene that
yeah,
I certainly hadn't previously seen before, and something I thought was really cool. So I wanted to have something that was a little bit more fashion forward, and that was literally the only thing I said to Dunk. I'm like, as long as
yeah,
we can make it somewhat fashion forward, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. Like, you just tell me where to be, and I'll turn up, and that's exactly what we did. So
yeah,
he had an idea planned out. Obviously, a tunnel is a cool place because there is a center point. You can
yeah,
meet in the middle in a tunnel. So yeah, it was really really cool, and it was a great experience.
yeah, that's cool. Hey, now from back in the day when
Mhm.
people listen to country, if you go back a number of years, even before Shania Twain, you go back
Mhm.
further, you have, like, the artists like Reba McEntire,
I
Dolly
love
Parton, all that.
Reba.
Yeah, how do you think that the industry and the sound of country has changed from, 20, 30 years ago to now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, more traditional country has evolved over time to be
Yep,
a lot more inclusive. You've got Americana, and you've got the more indie side of country as
yep,
well now, that, it all just gets barreled in the country. And I think pop has had a massive influence into the country space as
yep,
well. And I think Shania Twain's era was the real sort of Leanne Rimes, that
Yeah,
Coyote Ugly. I think that was a real turning point for, in my opinion anyway, I'm sure everyone's got a different one,
yeah,
for country. And I don't necessarily, it's a bad thing because it's more inclusive. It does take a lot of genres into play. And I think the sounds that are coming out because of that and the influences just make it more,
yeah,
authentic to the artist that's producing that, rather than trying to, force someone down a road that's not necessarily them, but knowing that they come from other backgrounds and other influences and being able to bring people on that journey to
yeah.
be still part of that genre. I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, because I know that we're getting more and more country artists, and they're becoming more accessible, like, to
Yeah.
us. They want to share their music a lot more than a lot of the pop or the rock. But in say that over here in WA, we've got a lot of punk pop bands that like sharing their music, and then over
Yeah.
east you've got a lot of the pop country pop type of stuff.
Hmm.
So it's really good. But most of our requests for interviews and all the PR companies are sending us heaps and heaps of country stuff, and it's like, well, people are going to start getting involved and getting on board with it. So
Yeah.
another
No,
tricky question for you:
yeah.
do you think country music
Mhm.
is it more feminine or masculine?
Oh, you know what? The
Yeah,
thing I like about country is that I think it actually can walk that middle line really, really well.
yeah,
And the reason I say that is this, and it's certainly something that I wanted to focus on when Rod and I have been doing, or putting together and
yeah,
writing my album. People have life experience, and that's common to people. It doesn't matter what gender you are, and if
yeah,
you tell that message the right way, I feel like it can resonate with all genders and people of all diverse backgrounds really, really well. And it's all about telling that story. I don't think it's necessarily one or the other. I think it's, what is your story,
yeah.
what are you trying to say, and what is your message, and how are you saying it, and is that receptive to include a diverse range of people.
Yeah. Is it?
And that's actually something I love about the country genre, because I feel like you can be feminine, you can be masculine, you can be everything in between. But at
Yep.
the end of the day, the messaging is clever and it's targeted and it can actually resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
With the artists, do you think there's more female artists coming through the country than male?
It depends. I mean, if you look at the US market, I don't know. I still think it's quite even. I think probably males get a bit more airplay
Yeah,
still over there, and there's still probably that balance question,
yeah,
between males and females in the industry. Certainly in Australia, I think there's probably a lot more females starting to come through
yeah,
than
yeah.
I've seen males in a long time. So that's a really interesting dynamic to watch happen, and it's just really interesting though to see all of those young women and come through. Everybody's coming through with a different story to tell and with an authenticity that's different from the one before them and the one
Yeah,
after them. So it's actually really nice to see so many people just going after their dream and just being themselves, and seeing how receptive that is to an audience.
yeah. So I find it's ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I've been finding there's a lot of female artists that are coming up through the pop, through the country music, and then
Yeah.
what I'm finding also is that a lot of the older male rock stars
Hmm.
are drifting into the country genre as
Yes,
well.
I have noticed that.
And
Yeah.
there's like, hey, you stick to your rock music. Let these young folks come through and play some music.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, it comes back to that thing, right? Like I said, there's so much of country music is that storytelling element, and I think
yeah,
people have come from a rock background that are going country. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're conveying that life experience in a way that suits the country genre and it's authentic
yeah,
to you and your sound, and that's where you believe your heart is right now. I mean, what have you got to lose? That might, if that resonates with one person or a million people,
yeah.
you've resonated with someone. So
I'm
yeah,
gonna I'm
I
gonna
think
get a
that.
little bit controversial, but I'll
Mhm.
try not to. Is that when you sing, right? So say you have a sing, and some people naturally sound like they're suited for country
Yes.
pop,
Mhm.
or they might sound more suited to country and western or
Yeah.
like Americana. But when you have someone that you grow up with listening to singing rock music,
Mhm.
and then they release an album and they're trying to sound like country,
Yeah.
that's like, "Oh, no, please don't." But
Yeah.
it was
It's
a bit
it's
yeah,
yeah, and that's what I mean with the authenticity. I'm a probably classic example. I don't have that really strong twang in my vocal tone. I think
Yeah,
you can hear the country influence in it. And
definitely. Yeah,
if I go back to even my teens, like every recording that I've ever done, there's been something there, and you listen to it, you could say that could go country. It was
yeah,
never a that it was never a thing where I didn't sound like I couldn't go there.
yeah.
But I think there is. I mean,
And
I
I
wouldn't put on a massive twang
yeah,
because it's not me, it's not authentic, and I just don't think people would connect with that if I did that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but meet in the middle when you listen to you and watch the
Yeah,
video and listen to it. It's natural. That's what it sounds
that's
like.
right. Yeah.
It's honest. It's true, and it's yeah, it's nice to listen to.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. You
That's
make my
right.
night.
So I'm gonna go do an interview later on with some rock bands and say, hey, this is what you got to start sounding like, fellas.
I love that.
Yeah. So where if someone was to go out this weekend and they wanted to hunt down Sammy, where would they find you performing?
So this Sunday, I don't forget what day it is. The 30th of July. There we go. I'm actually singing the national anthem at the VFLW Grand Final for
Oh
the
wow.
telecast. So, so this weekend, if you were going to hunt me down, you'd probably switch on your TV to the
TV.
VFLW Grand Final, and there I'd be, singing
Oh,
the
good
national
luck.
anthem.
Well,
So,
that'll bring you some exposure, wouldn't it? Won't it?
yeah, it's a great event.
Yeah.
I actually did it last year, and it was just one of the of all the things I did last year, it was one of my most favorite. It was just a great crowd, a really warm
Yep.
reception, and it was fun, and it was more like wonderful actually watching the game too, and watching the teams and the spirit of the
Yep.
game, and also women's football. So yeah, it was really cool.
Well, my first time going to see an actual AFL game
Hmm.
was an AFLW game. It was
Really, that's
yeah,
amazing. Oh, that's so
Freo
cool.
versus Adelaide, yeah, and
Yeah. Oh,
Freo
that's
got
awesome.
smashed. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
the
right.
first
Good, good. So you're on the right side of the fence. Yeah, good.
no, I'm Freo all the way, I bleed purple, but,
Mhm.
yeah, they got smashed. I was like, "Oh, no,"
Oh,
but
no, then. Well, that's no good
no,
then.
no, we won't talk about football, not today, not about Freo this year,
Well,
so
I can't. I'm a St Kilda supporter at heart, so let's not.
I they're doing better than us, so
Yeah, they had a great start, but
yeah. Oh,
yeah, we had
yeah.
some rocky ground there too.
Yeah. Now, if you could go back, if you could just transport yourself back to, a younger self,
Yes.
um, and you're just learning to sing or whatever at the beginning, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, wow. Actually, that is a fabulous question. I think I'd tell myself to keep the faith. I,
Yep,
I, you know, this industry is a hard industry. I've been around for a really long time now, and it's hard.
yep,
And I think you just got to keep the dream there and celebrate the small wins, and kind of go with the flow a little bit.
yeah,
And I mean, my inner self always wants to project manage everything. I
yeah.
want everything to go to plan always, and in this industry, that's not the way. And
Nah, but
I think in my I think when I was younger, like, I certainly had the blinkers on, especially when I first started really writing seriously
yeah,
overseas, had the blinkers on. But when you open your eyes to some life experience and stuff like that, that brings an inspiration that you don't have when you're just that focused.
yeah, yeah,
So I probably say to myself, keep the faith, keep dreaming big, and just go after it. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything.
yep.
Just give everything a go and live with no regrets.
Have you had anyone tell you to give up?
No, I don't. Like, I think I've been lucky in that regard.
Yeah,
No, I don't think I have, actually, which is nice. I know a lot of people that have.
yeah,
I mean, I've had people say no before. And when I
yeah,
was growing up, my dad actually taught me a great life lesson when I was younger and I was auditioning for things. He used to say to me, "He's like, remember, Sam, the brief when you go for these auditions is a 5'2" blonde singer,
yeah,
and there will be 100 of you, and that will be the criteria, and the producer or the director will look at you and they will say that one, and they will pick
yep,
one of you." He goes, "And you probably will never know why."
yep,
And I think that made no a lot easier for me to hear, because I didn't really take it personally at that stage. I think in that audition process, or whatever you're going after, when you've done a good job, or you've done not done your
yep,
best, had your best day. But I've tried to sort of live by the principle, okay, cool, today's not my day, maybe
yep.
tomorrow will be, and you just keep moving forward.
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
reason why I ask is that, we do a weekly wrap every Sunday. We have a bit
Mhm.
of chat. We have different segments that we put into, and we've got one segment about um, body positive imaging and things like that
Yeah.
that we talk about. And we were talking about Robbie Williams with
Yeah,
his
right.
body dysmorphia, and then and I've been thinking about it recently. I spoke to Nathan Cavalieri, and he was actually told to give up, don't pursue
Yeah.
your career singing, and it's like I don't know how people can be if with all these haters, how they can actually do that. And I just wanted to delve into your life a bit more to see if you actually had any bad experiences, any haters trying to shut you down because
Oh,
it's
I think I remember in my early 20s, I got told to lose some weight.
yeah,
And then when I was doing the American thing and going back and forth, I think that was something that, yeah, that's probably the hardest thing
yeah,
it was to hear. And I remember the person managing me at the time sat me down. It was a very careful,
yeah,
it's a very careful conversation. I mean, in your early 20s, that is something that's
yeah,
here. And but at the same time, like on the other flip side of that, I think the way I took that was, well, I don't want anything like this to stop me going after my dream.
yeah,
And as long as I'm comfortable with how I look, some people will love it, some people will
yeah,
hate it. I've just got to get comfortable with how I look. And hopefully, if I'm comfortable, then, someone else will be comfortable too.
yeah,
So that's kind of how I took a comment like that. But yeah, look, no is never easy to hear.
yeah.
I think as well, though, the
I
way
think
my
we
parents brought me up was I was really lucky because I was brought up in a way where if someone told me to give up, it was kind of like waving a red flag at a bull, right? It
yeah,
just made me want to do it more.
yeah. Have you got a pen and paper there?
uh, no, but I could.
I just come up with a song lyric you can use.
Oh yeah, go for it. I'm
No
gonna
is
write it down on
never
my
yeah,
phone.
just no, you said it. No is never easy to hear.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you turn that into a crank and rock song, or a pop
I have to
song
put
or
a
country
song
song,
credit. I'm gonna have to put a
yeah,
song credit in there. I like that. It's written down. It's
yeah. Oh,
there.
cool. I'm gonna listen out for it now.
Quality
This
idiots. I love it.
yeah, hopefully we'll hear it. That'll be wicked. So,
Yeah, that'd be
alrighty,
cool.
well,
Actually, it's a good idea.
yeah. I won't keep you too much longer.
Mhm.
So, thank you very much for joining us. But before we
Thank
go,
you. Mhm.
merch. We're pushing merch big time. Like I got Ella, she had a
Oh,
CDs there. I got
cool.
Rich Webb stuff. I've got getting stuff everywhere. Do
Yeah.
you have a merch store that people can visit?
Not yet, but I'm hoping to have one soon.
Oh, cool.
So my
Yep.
first focus was to get some music out for people to hear. So
Yep.
that's been my tunnel vision for the last few months, and to get that out. I grew up on stage. I'm really keen to get performing for a crowd again.
Yep.
So I'm really keen to do that, and merchandise obviously comes part and parcel with that as
Yeah.
well. So
Oh, cool. Because
I've never been asked for merch before though, so it's kind of like I had someone message me the other day, and they're like, "Oh, can I have like a autographed photo?" And I don't know. It's not when you put music out, you don't think someone. Well, I certainly
well,
didn't think someone was going to come and ask for me, to give
yeah,
them a photo. I thought, oh, okay, well that's new. I'm going to have to think about this now. So
yeah.
that was a
Because
nice
we
surprise.
push it. We push it big time because like
Yeah, right.
we say to like the other artists, and we
Mhm.
say like listen, or we say to people is that listening to music on Spotify and streaming services is great.
Yeah,
It's really good. You
you're
get to
right.
hear their music, but if you really want to support the artist,
Go and buy
buy
the.
their CD, buy their record, buy their T-shirt. You
Yeah.
know, that's where the artists actually get a lot of their income
Royalty
from.
from, yeah.
Yeah,
And certainly when we get the album out, we'll do a physical run and all of those
yeah.
as well. So yeah, so I'll definitely have things for people to purchase at that time. And
Oh, we'll have to keep
yeah,
an eye out
I'm
because
looking
there's
forward to being able
yeah,
to design this stuff.
yeah.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, because when, I was talking to my son the other day and, like, I've got my little record player here, and I've got a collection of records there, and he's talking about collecting records and things, and the
What?
difference being from listening to Spotify
Yeah,
to listening to a record on a really cheap
vinyl.
re record, yeah, you actually can feel it. You actually
Yeah.
become part of that song and music 'cause it's
And I had that. My mum had a record player growing up, and we were listening to vinyls a lot
yeah,
when I was younger. And I missed like the crackling sound.
yeah,
Like when you try, and something actually I loved about an album back in those days is unless you were really clever with moving that needle, you had
Yeah,
to listen to a whole album start to finish. There was no
yeah,
skip culture where you could just skip the song you didn't like.
yeah, yeah,
But what I don't know about you, but what that made me feel like at the time is you got to know songs that on the first listen you kind of passed and went, "This is not my jam,"
yeah,
and then the second or the third time you listen to it, you're like, "Actually, you know what? I really love this track." And I feel like today we don't necessarily
yeah.
have that because you skip something, you never come back to it once you
Yeah,
skip it. You just decide you don't
y
like it.
right, yeah,
So yeah, there's some really cool things
but
about vinyl. It's cool
and
your
y
son's getting into them.
yeah, and you actually you build that relationship up with the
Yeah, with the
artist.
artist, you get to know the artist
Yeah,
more. I agree.
yeah, so bring back records, let's bring it and cassettes.
Yeah, well, the cassettes were the same. You had to fast forward, and then if the tape got out,
Yeah.
you had to wind it
Y
back with your finger. That was fun, wasn't
But,
it?
yeah, the
They were good
memories,
days. And when
you
you like
can't
taped the radio and you had to stop it for the ads, and
yeah.
it was good. Hey,
Yeah, there's lots of songs out there that end with Casey Kasem's Top 40.
yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, so how many mixtapes went out like that?
Oh, probably many. I
So
think
how
I
do yeah,
probably had a few.
how do young folks do it now? How do they send a mixtape to their crush?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's all playlists now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You,
have them a
yeah,
playlist.
it's just send a playlist to your crush. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
dunno.
Yeah, I just remember when you're like, you were burning CDs for your
Yeah,
friends, going, "Hey, listen to what I'm listening to," and they'd burn you a CD, and you'd swap a few times, and that'd get given to someone else. I mean, that's how you got to know music that your friends were
yeah,
enjoying, and
good
yeah,
old
mixtapes
Napster.
were a version of that. Yeah, I think everybody, I think everybody had a Napster
Yeah.
phase. LimeWire, I think it was the one. But yeah, it was really interesting. But I think playlists are probably the new
Yeah.
mixtape, really.
Well, hopefully you're on, your Meet in the Middle is on a lot of playlists.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
we'll
yeah. I'd love that.
yeah. So thank you very much for joining us. All the best with your music. Hopefully it keeps
Thank you.
skyrocketing. 18,000 views on YouTube is really good, and I hope it
Thank
keeps going
you.
up and up and up.
Yeah, fingers
So
crossed. That was a great fact. Thank you. I'll have to go and have
yeah,
a look now.
too easy. Well, you take care. Thank you very much.
You too, and thanks so much for having me.
Oh, anytime.
My baby's at his best when he's headed west, cruising down the back road, showing up the miles away. And Desperado makes that Silverado fly. I like sand between my toes, rolling with the flow. A sunset on the water makes me feel high like a third pina colada. A kiss under the stars at night. We go together like a fiddle and bow. Just how it works, nobody knows. One without the other, we can't play our favorite song. You're straight as an arrow and I walk a wire, where gasoline and matches play with fire. We give and take a little and we meet in the middle. I'm the Bonnie to your Clyde, partners in crime. To steal away your heart, I'll drive the getaway car and hide on every red light. It's wrong, but that's how right we are. So you can wear your boots, I'll keep wearing Gucci, designer dress and blue jeans. Somehow wear a match, there's no way to stop it. Where two opposites attract.